guys, Beth here. I hope you're doing well. I got to see some of you from a distance and pass out signs to our seniors. I still have a few signs left, so if I haven't got to you, don't worry. We will be getting them to you, but we had way more seniors than we realized, and so I will be stopping by. One of the things that I love about this ministry and about what I do is I love you guys. And so I just want to say, junior high, I hope you guys are doing great. I know you guys are missing your friends. I know you guys are missing times to hang out. High school, I know that this is so hard, but I love you, and soon we're working on plans. We're trying to come up with things. So don't worry, like, this is not forever. This is just for right now. And in this for right now, I want you to know that I deeply, deeply love you guys. So with that being said, I got to do something really cool this weekend while passing out signs. I was in Fallbrook, and I got to see Savannah. What up, Savannah? And they have orange trees, and we got to go and pick oranges. And so look at this, like, beautiful, like, picturesque, perfect orange. And so we went to pick oranges and flowers, and the girls had a lot of fun. And then we went to see the Velascos, and they have a beautiful farm, and we had eggs and got to pet goats and baby chicks, which actually baby chicks were not as cute as I thought they would be. So that's a note to self, but they were still, you know, it was such a fun experience. And when we got in the car, we were so hungry, you know, and we had been driving all day. And so as we're so hungry, we had like this craving inside of us. And, you know, I'm like, well, we have all these oranges, so like, let's eat fresh oranges, like literally off the tree, like seconds ago in our mouth. And it was so cool because eating oranges was this very refreshing and fulfilling experience. And ever since that I have ate that orange that day, I crave this fresh, juicy orange. So Savannah, I'll be out there seeing you soon. But what it is it was this weird thing inside me where I was hungry for something good that I had tasted, and something that was just really wonderful to me. And so as I start to analyze that and think about like times where I've been really hungry, I think about when Joey and I first got married. We went for this camping trip, and in this camping trip, it was a very long hike in, and it was a backpack hiking trip into this Sword Lake, and it was a lot of fun. We went with another couple, but as we got, you know, there, we kind of got lost, you know, Beth getting lost, like, shocker, but it was so much fun. But then coming back, one of the people that we had met up with said, oh, I know a shortcut, let me help you guys get back. And so as they're taking us back, you know, because we camped in, we were out of water, we were out of food, you know, we had very, very little things with us. And coming out, we ended up going through a limestone quarry, which is just really slippery, and it was hard for us to get. And we had all consumed all of our food and all of our water. And as the sun's beating above us, you know, one of my friends that went got sunburned, and so she couldn't even carry her backpack. So I had a backpack on back of me, and then her backpack on the front of me. And we're trying to hike through to get to our car, and we were so thirsty. I mean, it was like our tongues were so dry that like all we were talking about, like, just how refreshing a glass of water would be. And we get to the car, and, you know, an hour hike that turned into probably like a 4 or 5 hour hike, and we get to the car, there's no water. And so we rush and we drive to the first little convenience store that we can see, and we grab Gatorade. And I am, if you know me very well, I am not like a super Gatorade fan, but there's this green Gatorade, and it was like bright green, and I drank this Gatorade, and it was like, it was like nectar from the heavens. It was the tastiest apple Gatorade that I had ever had, and I loved it, and I was so just enthralled by it that it quenched my thirst. And as we read the passage, I want you guys to start to think of a moment where you were so hungry or you were so thirsty. And I'm not talking about like, oh, you skipped breakfast and so you're hungry. I mean, you are just, your tummy is grumbling and like you're just so desperate for food or for water, and that there's only something very specific that would be able to quench that thirst and that hunger. And so the Bible uses that a lot, those references, because it's something that we as humans can really understand, right? I would do like a show of hands, but how many people have been hungry? How many people have been thirsty, right? We've all been hungry and we've all been thirsty, and we've all been desiring and wanting that thing to fill us up. And so whether it's a beautiful orange or, you know, an ice cold cup of water, or, you know, Coke Zero or a green Gatorade, whatever it is, we've all had those pangs and wants for something to fill us up in that way. And so Jesus uses that reference a lot because he knows that it's something that we all can really understand. And so we're continuing in Matthew. We are in Matthew 5, and we're in verse 6. And so continuing in the Beatitudes. So Matthew 5, verse 6. God blesses those who hunger and thirst for justice, for they will be satisfied. Another phrase in there is God blesses those who hunger and thirst for righteousness. And that's kind of what I want to talk to us about, because right now there are so many of us trying to figure out how to get our needs met. And the things that we are hungry and thirsty for are not for justice, and they're not for the righteousness of Jesus, right? The things that we hunger and thirst for are kind of like McDonald's quality to In-N-Out quality of things to feed us and fulfill us. And so maybe we are hungering and thirsting for things that we shouldn't see with our eyes, or maybe we're hungering and thirsting for, especially right now, just connection with friends, right? Or hugs or people, or some of you are even hungry to go back to school because you so want to be around people and the situation that we're in right now. And so the things that will fill us up, we look to, and those things aren't necessarily the justice and the righteousness of Jesus. And so we're doing this kind of top ramen cup of noodle budget when Jesus is like, man, I have something so much more for you if you hunger and thirst for what I have for you. If you hunger and thirst for who I am and you desire who I am, then you will have a fulfillment of where you'll be satisfied. Because, you know, I love sushi, right? Like, sushi's amazing, but I'll eat sushi and like 2 hours later, I'm hungry. If I eat McDonald's, 2 hours later, my stomach hurts. You know, there's certain things in foods that, like, I eat spicy. I love spicy food so much, but I eat spicy food and my stomach hurts and I pay the consequence, and it doesn't ever really fully fulfill me. But when I eat the things that are good for me, like oranges and bananas and something healthy, you know, and drink my water, like, my body is fulfilled, but it's also in a great state and a great place of health. And for you guys, my question is, what are the things that you are craving right now? What are the things deep inside your heart that you're craving? Because are you craving righteousness, that the God's goodness? It's pursuing the holiness of who Jesus is. Are you pursuing after, you know, the things that God tells us that how we should act and respond to people? Or are you pursuing things that aren't going to fulfill you and things that aren't going to sustain you? And right now, where you sit, if you're on your couch or in your bedroom or outside, what are the things that you want right now? And what are the things you're hungering and thirsting for? And how can we change that and hunger and thirst after Jesus? And I'm leaving you guys with a huge question mark, because for everyone, it's going to be different. for everyone to change our desires and to do that. It's a slow process to start to be able to change our desires to thirst after Jesus. But once you do, and once you have that long-term fulfillment of putting Jesus in, right? Once you drink water and drink a lot of water, a sugary soda is not going to taste good to you. And so once you consume yourself with Jesus, once you're fully immersed into him, those things that used to crave are no longer going to feel good to you. They're no longer going to make you happy. They're no longer going to give you joy, but they're going to start to make you feel sick. And so the more you pursue Jesus, the more that will start to happen. But how can we do that? How can we hunger and thirst for justice and the righteousness of who Jesus is? And so I encourage you guys to answer that question in small group. Ask your small group leaders how they do it. Because my pursuit of Jesus and that satisfying thing looks completely different than everyone else in my house. I listen to preaching and I listen to worship. I could listen to preaching all day long. I love listening to hear men and women of God take apart the Bible and talk about it. So that's how I pursue after that hunger to be fulfilled in Jesus. So what are the things that you can do so that you become hungry for Jesus and we stop hungering and desiring the things of the world that are going to leave us with like a yucky tummy? I love you guys so much. Praying for your small groups tonight. Thank you. Bye.